Making Your Home Your Haven. I'm Coleen Krubl of the CK Organizing Company, and I am your host for today. So let me tell you a little bit about myself before we dig into the meat of the matter. My background is that first and foremost, I am a natural-born organizer. Excuse me, I have a little bit of a frog in my throat today. I'm also a single mom of 2 kids. I have a 5-year-old daughter and an 8-year-old son. And being a single mom with no family in the immediate area means I really need to have stellar skills when it comes to being organized, both with our physical space at home and with time. Previous to being a professional organizer, though, I worked in the nonprofit arena for many years, including 5 years with the American Cancer Society. I was the Director of Health Initiatives for the Ohio Division, and most recently with Ohio University as a project manager for public health research-based projects. So through all of this previous work, I did a lot of training and presentations, which is something I really enjoy doing, so that's why I'm having fun with this today. This past year, though, I made the big change to doing professional organizing full-time, and I became a member of NAPO, which is the National Organization of Productivity and Organization. And so I'm very excited for today's webinar because it brings together for me my love of organizing, my love to provide training, and also my love of connecting with other moms. I love my mom friends. I love sharing experiences with them, hearing what their experiences are, being able to bounce ideas off of them and just share the craziness of what it means to be a mom. So I love that today doing this webinar brings all those things together for me. And you know, if there's some if there are some dads out there with us today too, that's great. So today we're going to cover physical space organization, household management and time management, and productivity, and how to maintain organization. And then at the end, we're going to talk a little bit about, once you've got your home beautifully organized and you're on top of everything, how to add layers of comfort and beautification in your home in a way that's personal to you and special to you. So my promise to you today in this hour that we're going to spend together is I'm going to show you some easy to follow steps that can help create organization and serenity in your home. So in other words, we're going to talk about how to make your home your haven. So if you're listening today, I'm going to guess that maybe organization and time management aren't your best strengths. And so maybe you're feeling stressed out, a sense of being overwhelmed. Today's webinar is targeted towards parents, and so having kids at home just adds so much craziness to your life in so many wonderful ways, but nevertheless it is craziness and it is stressful. So that being said, even if these aren't your strengths, naturally, with some help, you can be organized. You can create and use systems to manage your household effectively. You can create a sense of serenity in your home. So as I mentioned in my introduction, I am a single mom of 2 young kids, and I work full-time outside the home. Yet through the use of the strategies and tips I'm about to share with you, my home has no clutter. It is a neat and organized home. I stay on top of my tasks. I utilize a lot of time management skills to do that, but I do manage to stay on top of my tasks. And I even have some time left over for fun stuff with my kids. Like this past week was Halloween, and where I live in Athens, Halloween is a season. So it's more than just the one night of dressing up in your costumes and trick-or-treating in your neighborhood. There's all kinds of activities. So it was a very busy time for us these past few weeks, and we fit a bunch of extra fun stuff in. And I didn't lose sense of control at home, though, with everything else going on. And most nights, not every night, but most nights I get about 8 hours of sleep. So I'm not burning the midnight oil trying to stay on top of everything. And I truly feel like my home is my haven, and I think my kids feel that same way. I love being at home. It's layered. Oops, I skipped ahead a little bit there. I love being at home because it just feels so comfortable to me, and I've tried to beautify it. I feel like I have beautified it in ways that are personal to me and my children and make it feel special. So this next slide shows Leanne Griska. She is a client of mine, and she is a mom of 3. She has an 8-year-old son, and she has twin 4-year-old girls. She's also an elementary school teacher. And so what she had to say after I spent some time in her home helping her organize, we focused mostly on the toy room because it was a disaster. There was zero organization. She said her kids wouldn't even play in there. They'd go in there sometimes to scrounge around, try and find a certain toy, but a lot of times they couldn't find what they were looking for, and it was just wasted space. And so she explained her vision for the use of the room to me, and together we were able to map out a use and a plan. And I went to town and we got that space organized, and she loved it. And so what she's saying here is that I work to help create functional spaces that your family can use. And it's not something that's just meant to last for a day or even a couple weeks. I didn't go in and just simply clean up the mess like a house cleaner would do. I created systems and explained to her why I set things up the way I did and how things were organized and what processes she could use with her kids to keep that space organized as going forward. Oops, I wanted to stop her video because I don't know if you can hear it very well. So we'll skip on to the next slide. So the process I use is very simple. You organize your space. You create routines and schedules. You use maintenance to keep your space organized and to stay on top of your schedules. And that leads to serenity in the home. Here's another testimonial. This one is from Liz Stinup. She is a mother of 4 children under the age of 6. How crazy is that? She also lives in Athens. And Liz had some problem areas in her home relating to clutter and just general disorganization and not being able to stay on top of her tasks because of the clutter. And so we worked on those together, did a lot of time management strategizing, and got her back on track. And so she was very happy. So our agenda for today is simple. We're going to talk about organizing your physical space, as I said, time management, and adding comfort and beauty to your home. And then at the end of the webinar, I've got a surprise for you, so stay tuned for that. So let's dive in. Let's talk first about why be organized. Why should you care about being organized? Here are some of the reasons. Being organized goes hand in hand with time management, and those things together lead to improved productivity. It also leads to decreased frustration, decreased stress, and that sense of always being overwhelmed, always being harried. And so that, of course, then leads naturally to enhanced serenity and a sense of well-being, not just for you, but for all the members in the home. It also creates a sense of openness in your home, a sense of lightness. So a lot of people will say all the clutter in their home is suffocating them. So getting that taken care of just creates this sense of openness and lightness. And it can help provide clarity and perspective and focus in your life. There are emotional, financial, time, and space benefits. So let's talk about organizing your space. Decluttering. As I was saying, too much stuff can feel suffocating. So lots of the stuff that you think is important stuff isn't as important as the space that it's consuming in your home. That space which can be used in other ways to make you and your family happier. So there are lots of reasons why people don't just simply clean up. It's not that simple. If it were that simple, then there wouldn't be professional organizers. So there are lots of excuses out there about why people hang on to their stuff so mightily. One is that they say, well, I might need it someday. Well, do you even know what's in those boxes that are stored down in the basement anymore, or in the garage, or in the attic? Probably not. Some people say, well, it's just too important to let go. So if it's important, it shouldn't be stuffed in a box. It shouldn't be in a pile of clutter. It should be out in a place of honor in your home where it's displayed and where it can be appreciated. So if that's not happening, then those things need to go. Cleaning to the past prevents you from living in the here and now. Some people say, I can't get rid of it. It's worth a lot of money. I spent a lot of money on buying, to obtain that. Well, don't throw good space after bad money. Costs come in a lot of different currencies. There's the cost of stress, the cost of embarrassment when you have people come to your home and they see the mess. And there's damage to relationships. When there's clutter, it causes damage to relationships because it causes stress. People in the family point fingers at each other about why things are the way they are with the clutter, and it just does damage to relationships. Some people will say, well, my house is too small. It's too small for all the stuff I have. Well, you have to realize the amount of space you have cannot be changed, but the amount of stuff you have can be changed. Some people say, I don't have the time to organize and declutter. Well, let's think about how much time is clutter and disorganization costing you. If you make the time to free yourself from the clutter and the disorganization, you can look at it as an investment in yourself that will turn things around, and the time spent organizing will come back to you with interest. It's just too overwhelming. So I hope that you'll see how freeing yourself of all the clutter will free you of those anxious, stressed out feelings. And I can help break the process down into simple, manageable steps. So the cost of clutter is real. And it's not to say you can't have stuff and that you should spend all your time only keeping your house 100% perfectly organized. Life is definitely for living, but disorganization can cross the line and cause damage in multiple ways. So let's think about what clutter could be costing you. And this could be possibly in ways that you've never considered before. What's it doing to your relationships? Does it cause arguments between you and your spouse? Does it cause stress with your kids because they know you're stressed and so they take on some of that too? Clearing the clutter in your physical space will go a long way toward clearing the clutter in your mind and your relationships. Also, think of it from a health standpoint. Clutter inhibits you from being able to clean your home well. It promotes the buildup of dirt and allergens. It's hard to clean around all that stuff. Now, there are two types of clutter. There's lazy clutter, all the paperwork that comes home every day from your kids from school, the mail, the newspapers, the magazines, toys, you name it. It's stuff that needs to find a home and get put away, and it just doesn't happen. That's the lazy clutter. And then there are the stored treasures, grandma's china, all the artwork from your kids from all the years through school, photographs, scrapbooks. It all just accumulates, and it's all stuff that's sentimental, and so you just think you can't bear to part with it. So regarding those stored treasures, while it's hard to let go of things that we're emotionally attached to, it really is. No one should feel stressed out when they open the door to their own home. So you got to think about it from that perspective. Your home should be the antidote to stress, not the cause. So you got to ask yourself the question about all these stored treasures. Do you honor and respect all the items that you're hanging on to? As I asked before, do you even remember what's in all those boxes? What you should do is go through and handpick the most important symbolic pieces and give them a place of honor in your home, and then get rid of the rest. It will feel so good. So you will discover going through this process that not having things makes your life better, not worse. So tips for dealing with clutter. Believe it or not, it starts with communication. You need to talk with your spouse, with your kids, about the process that you want to enter into and that you all should enter into as a family. And so because there are emotions involved, attachments to stuff, it can be tough to face this prospect of going through this process. So you want to enter a tough discussion by starting from a point of love and understanding. Make sure you say, I love you, and I know you love me. I want what's best for all of us. This is something that's going to improve our lives. So let's remember that while we're going through this. Also, agree on some ground rules for the discussion. If everybody's getting upset, maybe you need to take a break and come back to the discussion a little later. There's no pointing fingers, no laying blame on any one person. And then remember to always return to this initial discussion when things get difficult. So as I was saying, don't make it personal, don't lay blame, don't use words like yours and mine. Instead, talk about things as ours. Everyone has a life to lead in the home. You care about each other, so you want everyone to find peace and satisfaction in this house. So you have to work together. So as you encounter each piece of clutter, ask yourself a couple of questions. How long has it been since I've last used this? Is it worth the space it takes up in my home?